Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It is 1 p.m. Central Time, but as we know it, it is time for the GRLCS Summer Splash Platinum Finals here. Return of the Middlesticks versus GSM.
Yep, going in with Return of the Middlesticks as, I believe, the 1 seed. Not familiar with Platinum.
Yeah,
as
Return
much.
of the Middlesticks, the 1 seed, undefeated in the 7-week split. So GSM is coming in with really something to prove here.
Yeah, how did their first match go?
It was a 2-1 actually. Return of the Middlesticks took it, took the series, but GSM brought it to 3 games. It was very close actually, and
Nice.
rather surprisingly, considering that Return of the Middlesticks has been advertising this summer splash as speedrunning GRLCS.
I don't know, Return of the Tree Line probably has that crown for speedrunning through it.
Hey,
If
they
I had
finished the
to-
entire split before anyone played their week 2 game, so...
It's true. I would definitely give them the speedrunning crown. Return of the Middlesticks is already, like 8 weeks behind?
Yeah, I mean, they're just so slow here, but we do have the trademark Callista ban coming out from GSM, as well as Tarek and Lulu taking those away from Black Salt. Meanwhile, Return of the Middlesticks banning Karma, Morgana, and Darius, and then first picking the Ornn top.
Yeah, lots of support bans. Not used to seeing like anywhere near this many support bans, especially because they're all supportive supports. Normally, if you see a support ban, you usually like seeing like a Thresh player or just some other carry support that can make plays. But this time they're wanting to keep the carries from actually carrying, like getting rid of the stuff like Lulu and Morgana.
Yeah, the
Then
enabler enchanters
Yeah.
rather than the engaging supports. And of course, Morgana very much targeted toward Ari Panda, since that is one of her best champions. And then, just in general, Karma, again, very strong support, very much in the same vein as Morgana, and it is going to force GSM to take that Ezreal much safer, much less reliant on support pressure, and then the Poppy for Jack Loves Lamp into the Ornn.
Interesting. Yeah, so they went ahead and banned the Darius, and first pick Ornn Darius can... Ornn is fine into Darius, but they just don't want Jack to have any lane prio. Poppy's kind of interesting. You can actually cancel the Ornn, like, ult, I believe, or even the E, with the Steadfast Presence, but even like the ult reactivation counts as a mini dash. So Poppy can stop it and keep him from sending the ram back in, so that might be it. But I also would give Ornn the edge in lane by virtue of his percent damage. So it's gonna be, might be just an even lane.
Yeah, I
Poppy
think
has some good fighting as well.
I usually, when I see Jack Loves Lamp's Poppy, I think, like, oh, well, he's really good at Poppy, and he's fairly good at 1v1ing as Poppy, so I usually give the advantage to him, but also Vebon is an absolute monster. So I think, as you said, it just kind of goes even at the end of the day, but I am interested to see how Jack Loves Lamp is going to be using the Steadfast Presence in order to interrupt Ornn, this Nautilus that we saw picked up for Black Salt, and if Ikato gets his hands on the Kindred, that too, potentially. But Leona will round it out for Ari Panda, so engage support, V, engage support. And now onto the second round of bans, mids and jungles are going to be taken off the table.
Yep. Syndra, the first one, that's a pretty standard mid ban for... I don't think many mid players like playing into Syndra. Just has so much lane pressure, kill threat. Very solid all around, though. I do think that... I don't know if Midlight Slushy plays it, but if he did, it might have been worth not banning it, and then you could just pick it R4 as a solid blind pick into pretty much anything. Response ban with a Cassiopeia, also another strong DPS mid.
Yeah, and Midnight Slushy's pretty much signature champion, so Return to the Middlesticks making very sure that GSM can't get their super hard comfort picks. So we'll have to see the Orianna taken away from X-Craze, which does mean that a potential Kindred is on the table for Ikato, but also a lot of other champions, such as the Zac, which he has played in the past, are there for him. Could just be one big peel comp for, the mid and AD. The Azir, also taken away from Midnight Slushy, another one of his signature carries.
Yeah, I kind of doubt to see the Zac because you're picking it into Poppy, and Poppy's pretty good at Zac. Plus Ezreal is also really good into Zac. It's really hard to get on top of him. So for mid bans, they decided that they're gonna have Ikato have whatever he wants jungle, and I assume counter pick it, which is what looks like is happening with the Rise. I'm not sure where Rise falls on Midnight Slushy's pool, but it is kind of interesting to me that they picked it after banning Syndra and Orianna, the two more blind pickable mids in my opinion. So we'll have to see how well he pilots that.
Yeah, and Rise, interesting because giving the counter pick over there means that Boosted Age or Midnight Slushy could just have a really bad time. But the Kayn will be locked in for Ikato, and now Xcraze gets his pick of the litter, trying to counter this Rise, which pretty much any early game mid laner should do it because Rise doesn't, he scales really well at least.
Yeah, Scales has decent wave clear. I know him more as a top laner than a mid laner. Not quite sure how all of his matchups there go. Kayn is a pretty Ikato style champion, has a lot of carry threat, and it looks like Echo, and I think Echo's pretty good in, or can do well into Rise, at least.
Yeah, he has all of that assassination potential. Rise being a little bit tankier of a mid laner means that it's going to be harder for Xcraze to assassinate him, but provided that he plays the lane smart and doesn't overcommit too early, once he gets that level 3, level 4, can be much more punishing to Midnight Slushy, especially, once you get to 6 and Midnight Slushy kind of has a useless ult, at least in combat terms. Xcraze could be able to walk away with this lane, but Water Bear is going to pick up the Graves to go into the Kayn, and that's a, strong early dueling jungler, so we might see some pressure here from GSM in the early stages of the game.
Yeah, it's really fun seeing Graves as the last pick, considering he's considered one of the more popular and strong junglers right now. You can pick it early and is good into a lot of matchups. But it is going to be into the Kayn. I think Graves will do pretty well into that. He gets his stacking armor. Kayn's pretty weak early, so Graves has a chance to bully him. And then they're pretty even in scaling strength as well. I think also gives Ikato only 2 champs, I believe, if he wants to go red Kayn, and one of them is bot lane, where he'll split and might be forced to go blue, which I think that this is definitely a red Kayn game, considering the Ezreal can escape. He's going to be building armor, lots of tanky members. Poppy can stop him if he's blue Kayn. Graves gets armor. Rise will have like Seraphs and Roa and gets tanky enough to survive the burst.
Yeah.
So
Ezreal is the only truly
Ikato.
squishy member of GSM here.
Yeah, and then you go Iceborne Death Dance and you're not squishy anymore. So
yeah, and this is
fun.
a really good Death Dance or Iceborne game. Usually I criticize it when you don't have enough damage on your team, but with the Graves is really going to help that. And then, of course, Ornn, Kayn, Echo, all 3 of them are melee. And that kind of removes the threat there of, say, a ranged AP threat, where the Iceborne really isn't that effective.
Yeah, so only thing is that there's a lot more, RotM has a lot more ability to force and a lot more agency than GSM does. They only really have Leona to force an engage, or like maybe a lucky Poppy flank, but they're up against Ashe, Nautilus, Ornn to be able to force onto them. They do have a lot of disengage though, so I'm kind of curious to see how team fights will go and like just how they play out the map, because they'll have Echo and Rise will probably want to split push against each other, but they also have enough force on RotM to be able to exploit Rise being away from.
Yeah, it seems like all other things being even in this game, it'll be a little more of a chase than anything. Return of the Middlesticks trying to run down GSM, hit them with all of their different avenues for engage, like you said. Meanwhile, GSM is trying to get Return of the Middlesticks to overextend a little bit and then punish them from there. The map plays with the Rise ultimate should be interesting, just because he's going to have a little bit more of that cross-map mobility than Echo will. And I'm interested to see how Water Bear kind of uses his early advantage in that 1v1 against Ikato in order to push GSM's advantage on the map, because that's one thing that Return of the Middlesticks has been doing consistently. It's just running over the entire enemy team, getting as many kills as possible, feeding Ikato, and they haven't locked down early objectives and played a smart and safe early game. They just go balls to the wall for the snowball.
Yeah, and that might push them a bit this game. I believe that early game is somewhat in favor of GSM. Ryze can early shove mid and have prio. Graves will be better than Kane. Ashe and Nautilus will most likely have the push, but Ezreal can still farm up and at least kind of contest. Leona's a good match for Nautilus early. Top lane is Ornn advantaged, but not so much that Poppy won't be able to roam. Which I do want to talk a little bit about like the draft with the Poppy, because Poppy was picked super early. The only thing they see is Ornn, and Poppy is much more of a counter pick. But then RotM also, I believe, in my opinion, counterpicked themselves somewhat. They picked Nautilus, who gets stopped by Poppy. Kane isn't great in a Poppy because like Kane likes to flank and run through walls to get around. And if you're in the wall and try and come out, Poppy gets a very, very free stun, and they can just turn and blow you up with all the damage their comp has. Because Graves likes it when you're up against a wall too, stunned by the Poppy. So it's just, I wouldn't normally like seeing a Poppy that early, but RotM's draft is something Poppy's really good at too.
Yeah, and we'll have to see how that pays off later in the game, or even when Ikato ganks top. But first, let's introduce the teams on the blue side. Your 1 seed for the Summer Splash Finals. It is Return of the Middlesticks. Vbon in the top lane on Ornn, Ikato in the jungle on Kane, xCraze in the mid lane on Echo, and Karista and Black Salt in the bot lane on Ashe and Nautilus.
On the red side, you have Jack Loves Lamp with the Poppy, Water Bear on the Graves, Midnight Slushy on Ryze, and Boosted Asian and Ari Panda bot lane with Ezreal and...
Yeah, so now it's a little bit of a 5-point, little bit of a standoff here. I don't think anyone sees each other, except for Black Salt spotting out Water Bear there. But no early action.
Yeah,
oh,
a little
okay.
bit of...
Two pieces of damage.
Action early.
The 50 health is going to swing the entire lane here.
Yeah, got a mana flow brand proc though. That's pretty important early.
Yeah, that actually is for someone as hard scaling as Ryze, and especially with that mana crystal start, it's going to be harder to duel against xCraze until first back.
Yeah, mana flow. The Sapphire Crystal start for Ryze is pretty standard. One of the things you can do just because it does scale off of incredibly mana hungry early. So you get to do that, get the early efficiency on the refillable potion. You'd see Gangplank do that start as well sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, really, Midnight Slushy's just going for value here because Ryze getting his value is pretty much the most important thing that he could possibly do in the early game. Meanwhile, Water Bear and Ikato just full clearing their bot sides. So maybe we'll see a level 3 in the top lane, but now Boosted Asian is going to get aggressed on at level 1, and oh man, Karista and Black Salt with the early 2, they are going to find first blood and burn a flash on Ari Panda.
Yeah, that was just respecting the Nautilus pull. Boosted Asian got hooked. He has cleanse, he has flash, didn't blow either of them. Noticed it too late, just how strong the early all-in was once Ashe starts autoing you with the slows. Don't know if she has her runes, but if she has approach velocity, which is sometimes seen, it's a bit less common now that Nimbus Cloak is so high up, but she could just ran down Ezreal and he thought it was too late, didn't blow any summers. It's a very, very early first blood.
Yeah. Already not really boding well here for GSM, but I do like approach velocity, personally. That's one of my favorites on Ashe, just because it's so useful and so universal. She can always proc it. But yeah, it's just kind of a little bit of surprising greed there by GSM. We were just talking about Ryze value, but GSM can't afford to, save all of their summoner spells when you're going to die as a level 1 Ezreal.
Yeah, it's just with Ezreal, once you hit level 2, you're pretty much all landables, so giving them that opportunity before you get there is pretty rough. Over Scuttle.
Yeah, now Ikato will force Water Bear away. He had the level advantage and his bot lane had the rotation priority, so he will be able to find himself the Scuttle in the bot side, and Water Bear did get the one in the top, so it's still a 1-1 there. But maybe a Kayn gank. No, he's just going for his Krugs.
Yeah, it is a bit interesting though, because Water Bear is 2 camps down at the moment, which you don't usually see on Graves, whose Grave is a very, very quick jungle farmer, very healthy jungle farmer. So he'll probably start picking back up a bit once he really gets some items. But it's a good start for Kayn, who doesn't really want to be playing for the early game.
Yeah, just being able to hunker down and get those early camps is so good here for Return of the Middle Sticks' jungler. And actually, take a look at the top side there. That's a 14 CS difference, and now Midnight Slushy getting ganked, but the Phase Rush will let him zoom away.
Oh, popping.
Yeah, Ari Panda is going to get hit, and this is going to take a lot of damage. She doesn't have Flash, so she may have to play a lot safer now that one Nautilus hook could spell her death.
Yeah, always fun seeing the Nautilus hook hitbox, especially at the very end because of Riot's lollipopping philosophy, which means that Nautilus can actually hook you behind walls if he throws it good enough, as Ares probably dead here.
Yeah, she's going to get rooted, pulled in, Ignite goes through, and it will be Black Salt taking the kill. Meanwhile, Boosted Asian, he's trying to get some damage in return, but in a 3v1, I don't think he's going to be able to do it. Now the Ornhorn is out. Jacklove's Lamp knocked up and clapped for the solo kill in the top lane. Damn, man.
And back to bot lane again.
And Boosted Asian might just be dead here, and X-Craze flashes for it, and it's suddenly 4-0 and a 2k gold lead here for Return of the Middle Sticks at 6 minutes.
Yeah, just really not great from GSM early. X-Craze manages to roam down, Boosted Asian 2 levels down, wanted to stay and push the wave. Top lane Ornn is really good into Poppy, especially early game before she gets a really huge cooldown, so he managed to just bully her, hits 6 first. Jack was greedy and stayed low, gets ulted and dies. Just all over the map, a bit of greed from GSM, and they get heavily punished for it by RotM.
And this is really that, the snowballing hard, breakneck pace that I was talking about in Champ Select, that Return of the Middle Sticks, they're just going for it, and against pretty much every team, it has paid off without exception. And we even see it here in the finals, where they're 2k ahead as 7 minutes ticks by, and now their bot lane is going to invade Water Bear, maybe just to get some Dragon Vision, but still, that's an aggressive move, and they're confident that they won't get collapsed on.
Yeah, just so much bot control and so much of an early from RotM that GSM can't really contest. Ezreal isn't that great until his 2 items spike. Ashe has a lot more sustained DPS at this point. Nautilus 2 is really strong with a full item above Ari Panda, pretty much with the extra chain vest. Makes it really hard to fight him, and it's going to be a lot of bleeding for GSM through the bot side. They're going to have to probably try and play through mid, which is their only winning lane.
Yeah, and winning lane, really, it's a 22 CS lead, but he's a kill down, so that basically equalizes out to a 5 CS lead. Luckily, this is still good for Midnight Slushy because he scales so well. Not having died, being slightly ahead, both of those things are really important for him to continue doing as this game gets later and later. And the first Cloud Drake does go over to GSM. They snuck it while Ikato was on the wrong side of the map.
Yeah, that was just really cleanly done from GSM. They had a huge bot lane built up that allowed them to have at least a brief period of time of lane control for Ezra. Graves went down along with Midnight Slushy's lane control in mid, and just get a really good and really important early dragon that I very much like them going.
Oof. Jacklove's Lamp does not get the Steadfast Presence off. Vebon will be knocked up, tries to go for the clap, does not get it, but will he still be able to do it? Jacklove's Lamp, is he greeting too much? He's at less than 100 health, and Vebon will stay alive at slightly more.
Yeah, that was a good knock-up timing by Jack. He manages to interrupt the Ornhorn. Also doesn't greed this time. He's... Never mind, he is greeding a bit. Going back to the wave. I was going to say smart to back off because he doesn't know where Aikado's at. And Aikado could very easily come up and dive him, or maybe even Vibon just gets a kill. Water Bear is there now to cover for him though, which is pretty nice.
Jack does see Aikado, and so does Water Bear. They are duking it out a little bit. Meanwhile, Midnight Slushy, I don't think he's gonna greed. I think he's fine. Huh? Rift Herald is dropped. Now it's a 2v2 in the top lane. Jack Love's Lamp is forced to flash, and Vibon and Aikado trading flashes there as well. Aikado trying to get on top of the Poppy. He will not be able... Oh no, he does! He barely gets on top, and they trade 1-for-1, and turret plates go over to Vibon.
Yeah, that was really fun dual top lane that's not quite over yet.
Yeah, Vibon, he's taking a lot of damage, but he can clap, can knock up, gets the grasp stack off, and Water Bear, one more auto attack from either side, should be able to take a kill. Vibon is out of mana, and Water Bear has got his blue buff, but X-Craze is here, and he is not long for the world. Water Bear goes down to the Echo Roam.
Yep. Ornn had full Sunfire done. That makes him a pretty tanky, beefy boy, and Water Bear tried to do the damage, just couldn't finish him off. He had already used his ult. X-Craze able to roam him up. He's actually done a really good job with these roams, first exploiting bot and then top, despite being almost constantly shoved in. Spike bot laner interrupts me again. Yeah,
Black Sot, his ult is going to go very low. Ari Panda, though, has the depth charge on her. Pull back in, and Boosted Asian just doesn't have the mana, doesn't have the damage. He will find a kill onto the Nautilus, but now Karista running him down. Does he have the approach velocity? He declines the chase. It's a 1-for-1 for the ADCs.
Yep, just bot lane fight, even.
And Vibon throwing out the Ornhorn yet again. Midnight Slushy on the run. Vibon is getting a lot of damage pumped into him, but now it's a 3v2. X-Craze flashing forward, getting on top of Midnight Slushy, will find the kill. Now Water Bear, he's going very low, and Aikado is going to use the ult to finish him off. A 2-for-0 for Return of the Middle Sticks as they break into mid.
Yeah, Return of the Middle Sticks is just playing really well right now. They keep getting into these skirmishes and having the mana advantage, and GSM just isn't respecting that. Here, Midnight Slushy was far up, allows Ornn to go all in on him, and the Kayn and the Echo were right there to follow up, whereas only Water Bear was there in response, which just leads to another death, and RotM is starting to snowball this game way out of control.
Yep, 5k now, increased from 2k 4 minutes ago. So Return of the Middle Sticks, they have not done this perfectly. They did lose they did lose Aikado and Black Salt in those couple of fights, but they are still 7 kills ahead, and now Aikado, he might be looking for Jack Love's Lamp, although Water Bear is coming through, and it looks like he has something to say about it. Damage going down, Aikado on the run. The jump away means the collateral damage will not kill, but Jack Love's Lamp is going to hit him with the buckler.
Yeah, this time it's Aikado that's greeting a bit too much. He invades topside jungle while both his mid laner and top laner were in base and gets caught out by the 3. That's a good all-in bop.
And oh boy, Karista is just burned to death. So much damage coming out from that combo. Now, Ornn and X-Craze are both here, so Boosted Asian, he's going to try and get Black Salt, but he can barely not get the damage in. Ornn takes the kill with his hammer. And X-Craze now chasing down Ari Panda. Can he get on top? He still has the Chrono Break if he wants to escape. But they'll trade 1-for-1 and now go for more turret plates here.
Yeah, really nice job from GSM spot lane. They catch out Kurasuda, get a very nice all-in, get him down, but double TP as I don't have time to talk.
Yeah, they really aren't giving you any slack here, but Vibon is now trying to fight Water Bear, trying to find Ari Panda. He has found the Leona. Aikado will take the kill credit there. The ult goes wide from the Ashe, and Midnight Slushy is just going to have to ult out while Return of the Middle Stick secures their first strike of the game.
Yeah, just fighting pretty much all the time. RotM has their foot on the gas pedal without letting off. The nice play from GSM bot lane gets them a kill, but then double TP comes in from Vibon and X-Craze to punish. They catch him out, Boosted Asian almost returns a kill onto Black Salt, can't quite do it, and they finish him off. Then they go a bit for Ari Panda. Water Bear tries to fight, but that's just so tanky and so far ahead from V-Bon and X-Rays. They do a good job. And double TP comes in. They're looking to try and save the bot tower, and that's probably a kill on the
Yeah, they will secure the kill onto V-Bon, which is huge. Boosted Asian now at 3-3. And this is just a little bit of the return of the middle stick's greed. You know, they run on a high motor, but that does mean that sometimes they can get hit for their mistakes. And GSM does seem to be the team who can punish them. And or at least of anyone in the GRLCS, GSM is the one who can punish them for these over-aggressions.
Yeah, just RotM is doing a good job pushing the lead. They're doing a much better job than GSM of staying together for all these skirmishes that are happening. They're making sure to have their people in the area. They're ready for fights when they start as compared to GSM. But then they just stay a bit too long, try and push themselves a bit too much. And once GSM actually do group up, they're doing a good job responding to the fights. So it's just going to be if GSM can actually be in position from this point forward, and if RotM can stop overextending.
Yeah, and the objective game so far has been pretty even in terms of the neutral objectives, but a lot of turret gold went over to Return of the Middle Sticks, including, I think, 10 plates, which is something that GSM will never be able to get back since they expired a minute ago. So that's where this 4,000 gold lead is coming from in large part. Like, if you look at the CS discrepancies, it's actually 15 in favor of Midnight Slushy, and then between V-Bomb and Nikado, they each have 10, but now the Ornhorn coming out. Jacklove's Lamp is caught. Water Bear is ignited and running, and Karista, he will get engaged on by Ari Panda, has to flash away, trying to get the damage in, but Ari Panda will use the Ignite now, tries to find the Ash, cannot. No one is dead on Return of the Middle Sticks' side there, and it's actually a 4v3 now? Nikado gonna get the final damage onto Jacklove's Lamp. Midnight Slushy will dodge away from V-Bon's flash headbutt. And it's a 3-0 overall for Return of the Middle Sticks.
Yeah, that's just different in tank lines right there. You had V-Bon going forward, soaking up so much damage. Midnight Slushy is still only on a non-charged row a tier, so he can't shoot through him. Graves is far behind against a full Sunfire Orn and with heavy, so he can't push him down. Ikado's already 2 items plus transformed into Wrath, so he's tanky. So they managed to zone in. They got damage onto Karasuda early from GSM, but couldn't follow up. So he managed to just kite away, and Ari Panda got overextended trying to keep him out of the fight. And yeah, it's just really rough with how big RotM's tank line is. As X-Craze also managed to solo boosted Asian in the bot lane as boosted Asian tried to defend the tower.
Ah, see, I was trying to figure out how all of GSM was there and no one was pushing against X-Craze, but yeah, I didn't even notice that he soloed out the ADC. But yeah, GSM, I mean, as you said, it's the difference in tank lines. You've got an unscaled Rise, basically no effective stats, because Roa is one of the worst items unstacked in terms of gold efficiency. And then Tier as well, fairly useless until you get it into that Archangels and it starts giving you the AP for the mana. But now with a 6k gold lead, Return of the Middle Sticks has a Rift Herald in their pocket, and we're going to have to see which inner turret they decide to crack using it, because if they break open mid, they could just try and go for like a 20-minute Baron and have the pressure to do it.
Yeah, and it's just going to be really hard to stop them. Dragon will be coming up first. That's probably going to be the start of the next fight. I'm not sure if it GSM want to go for, that this is probably the best chance they're going to. They have Ezreal's 2-item spike, though he doesn't quite have mana yet, and it's not like RotM have bad scaling, so it's a rock and a hard place for them at this point, because they don't want to give the drag, but it's also a fight to lose if they go for it.
Yeah, you lose out so much more, but the denying Return of the Middle Sticks, the Dragon, is huge, but Nikado will steal away the blue buff. He does use the ultimate onto Ari Panda to try and get the heal. X-Craze has the ultimate available, and he catches 3 with it! That's huge damage! And now Ornn coming in with the horn. He will find 1, he will find 2. Boosted Asian's the only one left, and X-Craze will live as he takes down the ADC for the ace.
Oh man, that was just really well done by X-Craze and Nikado. They managed to stall long enough. A slight gap in the CC chain means Nikado gets to get his ult off and survive as X-Craze does damage. Then they try and chase down X-Craze, but forget about the ult clone. So he manages to go back, gets a huge ult into the middle of them with full health back, and at that point GSM had just run out of gas. Vibon had TP'd in, he managed to get a good ult on the flank, the rest of RotM was able to come back, and that's most likely going to spell the end of the game for GSM.
Yeah, this isn't even the beginning of the end. The beginning of the end was the end of that fight. This is really the middle of the end. One inhibitor cracked, the Rift Herald even got a charge onto the Nexus turret. Meanwhile, the second Ocean Drake went over to Return of the Middle Sticks, and X-Craze picked up the mid inner turret. With Baron spawning in 20 seconds, I'm not even sure if Return of the Middle Sticks wants to go for it, or if they can just go for, force a fight with all of the engage that we were talking about. Ashe, Ornn, Nautilus, the three of them together, you can just say, no, we're fighting now. Either that, or you're just going to lose 3 members.
Yeah, I imagine what they're going to do is stick 4 around the Baron, start that up. They're going to have X-Craze pushing bot, already one super low, Nexus Tower, another one he can push down. Ornn isn't quite at 13 yet, where he gets a ton of gold efficiency by upgrading his Sunfire and Abyssal Mask. So they'll probably wait for that before they just kind of bum rush and knock down towers. They probably don't need it, but it's always best to be a bit safe. As instead it looks like they're going to be pushing mid and using X-Rays for the top tower as super minions keep one busy bot. That's also probably fine. No one can match X-Rays in the side lane. He's 606 with almost 3 full items and a stopwatch.
Yeah,
and
and
start fighting, and Jack is all alone.
yeah, Jack is just in the wrong place at the wrong time, and now the engage by Nautilus. He will find 2 knockups, a stun on Ari Panda, a kill on Ari Panda. Black Salt is going low, and the collateral damage plus boosted Asian will be enough to finish him off. So overall, a 2-for-1, which is actually better than GSM has been getting recently. But still, they lose that inner turret.
Yeah, it's really hard to defend inner towers. Jack tried to do it, but he wasn't watching the map right at all and let RotM just kind of walk around and rotate from mid and kill. Something you really have to watch out for. Should have just given it. Instead, he gets caught out and dies. Then Ari Panda dies trying to save him. Luxold overextends a bit, and that's going to let them get the kill. But with those 2 dead and all map control going to RotM, GSM is just now coming out of base, and RotM is going to get a completely free Baron to push and end the game with.
Yeah, and this may just be the final push here. Once Return to the Middle Sticks resets, comes back, they've got a favorable minion wave in the bot lane. They've got Baron minions, and mid lane is dead even there in the middle of the lane. So they should be fine. And Black Salt did, I believe, get the Baron buff. They waited long enough for him to respawn. So this should be the beginning of the push here for Return to the Middle Sticks in the mid lane.
Yep, Ornn's 13, Echo's 3 items with double Zanyas. He has the Zanyas and the stopwatch, 806. Ikato has GA, 3 other items. Stoneplate on Nautilus, QSS on Ashe. There's just, RotM can just ult with Ornn as soon as GSM try to defend the tower, and GSM doesn't really have enough damage to do about it. Rise does have his 2 items done, and he's stacking nice enough, but it just probably won't matter. Although X-Rays should be a bit careful.
Yeah, X-Craze was forced to use the stopwatch, and now with 2 members knocked away, GSM can try and find something here. Ikato may be forced into the GA, but oh! X-Craze pops boosted Asian with just his ultimate. Now, Vibon tanking the turret while Ikato starts to move forward. He's going to find a double knockup. But it looks like Return to the Middle Sticks. They're just going to calm down, play it a little bit slower. They've already got the man advantage, so they're just going to push this the old-fashioned way, knocking down the turrets, not needing to take the kills.
Yep, they're gonna get the inhib. Super minion wave in mid, another one's coming up from bot. They're gonna probably try and push down these towers, or at least just stall outside as the minion wave comes in from top, where it looks like they're going down for drag. Taking the safe play might have been able to end, but boosted Asian is back up. The double stop watch on Echo. He doesn't have his ult up, so they're playing a bit safe, a bit careful, get to soul point, and remove any chance that GSM might have of a comeback and getting shut down inside the base.
Yeah, it's the last thing you want to do is toss away an easy game just by overextending. You know, you find your leads, you start taking a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more, and eventually you bite off more than you can chew. Return to the Middle Sticks really wants to avoid that, and this is really smart by them because this is game 1 of the series. It's not like, it's not like this is the adrenaline's pumping, we're about to win it all. you know, you're getting halfway there if you push this and win, or you're losing half of it if you toss the game off of a botched dive under the Nexus. So
Yeah, especially with the shutdowns that you might get from killing Echo, or that's just not something you want to give over. Ezreal's trying to work on Dust Dance. Rise has his items and he's starting to scale up. So not a lot of chance to lose, but you don't want to give over what small chance there is. Akado's going to solo the dragon and run up. They're going to get bot inhib, push from the base, and just try to do a repeat of the fight they just won.
And the Ornhorn's out. X-Craze has used his Chrono Break to get out. Ari Panda going to take a lot of damage, but she uses the stopwatch to keep herself alive. Now Boosted Nation is going to be engaged on under the Nexus turrets. Ari Panda knocked up, taken down. Jack Loves Lamp trying to find something onto X-Craze, and he will find the shutdown, but it's too little, it's too late, because only 2 members of GSM are alive. Scratch that, make it 1, as Aikado takes down the mid and ADC, so no one's alive, it's a full ace, and Return of the Middle Sticks will be taking game 1 in just over 25 minutes here.
Yeah, just really dominant game, basically from start to finish. Couple of minor hiccups, giving over a kill or 2, but nothing to really be concerned about. RotM was just in control for most of the time. GSM just wasn't able to have people in position for the fights they wanted to take. Basically, only mid lane was ahead, top was losing, bot was losing, and with that control that Aikado just got to farm up, Echo managed to get to the side lanes in a good point to clean up kills. He got ahead, and they just managed to steamroll the game from there.
Yeah, and it just looked so surgical that I'm really not sure what GSM has to change about their draft, because it seemed like nothing worked, and when nothing works, it's hard to identify the specific issues. Do you have any insight for them, maybe?
Just be more careful with the fights they take. There were a lot of times where just too early they were pulling fights, pushed too far up. They were taking man disadvantaged fights where they weren't ready for it. RotM was just a lot more coordinated about what fights they wanted to start and having people in position for that, whereas GSM were a lot sloppier with how they were positioning and how they were wanting to actually do things. So it just, the more organized team ended up pulling out victories, and that's something that GSM should probably work on fixing the second game if they want to pull out a win.
Yeah, I thought that GSM would have a little bit better coordination in terms of being able to get to the source of fights, because Midnight Slushy, you know, has the Realm Warp. Water Bear, you know, moves fairly fast as a Graves, but I think I saw Midnight Slushy use his ult once, and it was to escape. So there was never really an opportunity for GSM to get aggressive or even support the team when they needed to get into these skirmishes. But hopefully GSM will be able to shape up their act as they go into Game 2. Meanwhile, Return of the Middle Sticks just needs to keep that train running. So we'll be back in a couple of minutes after a quick break and see who can take Game 2 of this series. Be right back.
jeg faen i hva dere mener, til den dagen jeg dør. Bare følte for det. Hvorfor står du her med rumpa bare til snø? Bare følte for jeg faen i hva dere mener, til den dagen jeg dør. Bare følte for det. Bare følte for det. Bare følte for det. Bare følte for det. Bare følte for det.
Welcome back. We are here for Game 2 of Return of the Middlesticks versus GSM after Return of the Middlesticks took out GSM in 25 clean minutes of play, and I am sad because GSM promised that Karista would be able to play Kalista this game.
They did. They said that they would let him play it, only to immediately ban it first. Only one change in the ban phase this time. Instead of the Lulu, they're going to ban Ashe. Another easy first pick for RotM with the Ornn, which had some pretty good success last game. And now it's up to GSM to change their draft to better situation.
Yeah, the Poppy didn't really seem to work out. Got solo killed early, and not to mention, then later wasn't really able to do that much. But the Caitlyn hover could mean that GSM is going to play a much more bot-centric game. They could just go for the Leona, pick up their duo lane pretty early, and make sure that Return of the Middlesticks can't, steal it away unexpectedly.
Yeah, the Caitlyn pickup, pretty strong bully lane, also makes sense for the Ashe ban now, because Ashe is typically really good into Caitlyn. Just farm with volleys from range, you have enough range to be able to not get poked out too much by Caitlyn. The Rakan pickup along with it, not too sure how well that's going to go.
Yeah, I personally don't really like Rakan as an engage support when things like Nautilus or Leona are on the table. And then in the kind of like enchantery engage that Rakan has, it gets shut down really hard by, say, Nautilus, who can just lock him down so easily. And Black Salt has been really good at CC chaining, which means that this could just go poorly, especially with the Syndra picked up for X-Grays.
Yeah, it's revealing Recon that early is not a great idea unless you're Zaya, but especially into Ornn, when you see it, Khan likes going in, he can disrupt, cause burst on, but Ornn will be able to and get a wide ult. Nautilus and Sin good at shutting down Khan, and it turns out Garen is decided.
I think there may be something wrong with your mic. It sounds like you're far away.
Is that any better?
Oh, yep, there it was. I don't know what it was
Cool.
you did, but it worked. And yeah, the Garen here is interesting for Jack Loves Lamp. I mean, I guess he can fight against Ornn compared to the Poppy.
Yeah, a little bit, but it's not really too much of a bully into Ornn. Ornn can do a pretty decent job of fighting it. It's not bad by any stretch, but it's also just an even lane. And Ornn outscales Garen a lot in terms of utility and team fighting, plus just the item efficiency he can bring. So I'm not too sold on GSM's draft right now on what they want to do.
Yeah,
Especially because Syndra can also be flex bot. And I'm pretty sure Syndra Nautilus will just absolutely destroy a Caitlyn or a Khan.
yeah. It seemed like, it seemed good, like the Caitlyn kind of going for that team focus, because Return of the Middle Sticks did really just beat down GSM in those team fights, in the team play, and it didn't seem like GSM just had an identity to play around in them. But now with the Garen, it seems much more like, okay, well, we'll send the Garen to split push. It's a Volibear jungle here, so kind of a messy team comp so far.
Yeah, I don't really mind the Volibear pick too much. It's pretty strong in the jungle. Good duelist early. It'll give him some pressure against Icado. It does give a bit of a run at them vibe to GSM's comp when you're up against Ornn, Syndra, Ezreal, and Nautilus, so it's going to be really hard for them to get in range unless Rakan gets a good flank. Or I guess Volibear just like runs in and manages to get an ult into the middle of them. They're also saving counterpick for mid is Fiddle Jungle. That's exciting.
Oh, Return of the Middle Sticks. It may not be in mid, but, the spirit is there. Icado on Fiddlesticks will be interesting. Gives a lot more just wombo combo team fight. I mean, if Ornn and Nautilus can combo up, or if Syndra can get a good scatter the weak, this could be, 2-second team fights here.
Yep, Lissandra locked in for Midnight Slushy is the last one. I do really think that the Fiddlesticks pick is fun. It gives a lot of AoE pressure, gonna force GSM to have a lot better vision control than they did in game one. It's not too great against the Volibear from what I understand. Volibear can run in, if you fear him away, Volibear actually has a mechanic on his Q where if you're CC'd while running at someone, it actually resets the cooldown, so you get to just activate it again. And it's a really easy interrupt onto Fiddlestick's Drain, which is the only dual potential he really has, is trying to sustain through everything. So if you interrupt that, makes Volibear a pretty good answer into Fiddlesticks for the duel. But it does also make it, again, hard for GSM to run in.
Wait a minute. What's going on?
Oh?
Oh,
that's fun. Turns out it is the Return of the Middle Sticks after all. They do the last second swap. Syndra's going bot lane, as we were talking about earlier. It's just really good at punishing the Caitlyn Rakan, both of whom are squishy. One Nautilus pull, into Syndra stun, into Syndra ult. You're basically dead, gives them a lot of bully potential. And Ezreal is going in the jungle. Volibear, he wants to run you down. Ezreal can just arcane shift away, kite him out, do the damage. Fiddlesticks mid. I don't believe Lissandra's root on her W actually interrupts the drain if it's going on.
It does not.
So he'll be able to just sustain through all of that. That is a really, really fun, really cool adaptation from RotM, and I absolutely love it.
Yeah, like literally with the exception of like Icado being able to farm healthily, because you can't kite camps as well as you used to be able to because they'll reset. And it's pretty temperamental too. So as long as Icado can jungle and farm well, this is so much better just on an individual level.
Yeah, it's just really, really awesome. It's been a while since we've seen Ezreal jungle too. I believe it was 2016
Yeah,
that
whenever they
Ezreal jungle
removed
was in the meta.
Runeglaive.
Yeah, and that was when he was in it. Another thing that's also really fun is because the swap happened at the last minute, the runes might be off for GSM. I don't know if they had time to switch to MR runes bot, which would be absolutely huge. You have Volibear might still take armor runes for a healthier jungle clear. I'm not quite too sure on how important that is, but it's just I really, really love this adaptation, and it is going to put a lot of pressure on GSM now to play things perfectly because I do believe that just on an individual role level, only top is the even one.
Yeah, and just you were talking about the specifics of these matchups, you know, Ezreal and Volibear, Fiddlesticks against Lissandra, and then Syndra against this bot lane. But I think the most important part of this is that as long as Return of the Middlesticks has practiced this and has an idea of what they're supposed to be doing individually and then as a team when they come together, this is just going to be if we hit them with something that they entirely weren't prepared for, how will they adapt? And it seems